It is Training Tuesday tonight, and welcome. Great to have you guys here again. I'm happy to see everybody this Tuesday in the middle of what I call our stagnant week. Because there's just something sort of stagnant and odd about being in between Christmas and New Year's, right? It's like most people are on holiday, a lot of businesses are shut down, but some people are working. Some of us are trying to get things done. There's a lot of focus kind of between family and work and events and things like that, and just things just get, things get a little funny. So, we're going to talk tonight about our solar plexus chakra and building confidence at work. And I'm trying to set up my dashboard here, guys. Sorry about that. Normally it's set up a little bit better so that I can see your comments as we chat tonight. All right. So this is just one of those days, like this is just one of those days where this is yet another one of those little things that's going a little bit sideways. And I have days like that now and then, as I'm sure you guys do too. Um, so I'm going to just, I don't know why this isn't setting up properly, but okay. So, and I'm going to start by telling you how I woke up this morning. How my day goes sideways. I woke up this morning and I was making my coffee, right? Playing around with the faucet and realized that I don't have honey hot water. Now, last night, I was very proud that my oldest son, he's 23, replaced my kitchen faucet for me. And it was one of those things where that kitchen faucet was way overdue for being replaced. I can't even tell you what bad shape it was in. It was just way overdue for being. We lived with it in such a decrepit state for so long. I am embarrassed. And so last night, I basically handed a Delta faucet to my son and said, go figure out how to install this because I don't want to pay a plumber. And he did. He spent 45 minutes under my kitchen sink, swearing and banging around, and then I had a beautiful new faucet. So this morning, I got up to make my coffee and wash my hands and this stuff, and I don't have any hot water. And my first thought was, did you not turn the hot water back on? Or is there something up with the faucet because it's new? And then I thought, Dave is pretty careful. He's pretty careful and methodical about how he approaches things. And then I thought, it's kind of chilly in the house. And so I went downstairs and checked in the basement, and yes, I was out of oil. Now, for those of you who live in the Northeast or New England area and have these really old homes that run on oil heat, you probably also know that most oil companies do like a regular service where they just automatically come and refill your tank every so often. I don't have one of those. The oil company that I work with doesn't do auto service refill, so you have to call. And every now and then I'm thinking, I really just need to get into one of those companies that do the auto refill. But the truth is, I like these guys. Their service is always good. They're very responsive. They're very nice. Their pricing is reasonable. And every time I run out of oil, and I run out of oil probably 2 or 3 times a year, I forget, it's all my fault. Like, I really don't have anybody else to blame. So that's how I started my day. So I'm going to come back to this story. Hopefully, I'm going to remember to come back to this story about my son and the faucet and the oil thing at the end of this, because this is actually, I thought it was a little bit serendipitous this morning when this happened, because I was thinking about my son and the faucet and the whole solar plexus chakra, which is what we're going to talk about tonight. So, starting off with the fact that we're in this weird kind of stagnant week between Christmas and New Year's and all of this, one of the things that, of course, we're seeing all kinds of articles about and people are talking about is your standard New Year's resolutions. What's your resolution this year? I would love for you ladies, if you are willing, to share with me in the chat what some of your New Year's resolutions are, because I know you're thinking about it. I'm thinking about it, even though my whole topic of this thing is ditch the list, and we are going to talk about that. The truth is, we think about how are we going to do this year differently? How are we going to show up differently, manage our career differently, lose the weight, blah, blah, blah. So if you are willing, I would love for you to drop in the chat and just share what are some of those resolutions. And I'm going to share with you the things that have been on my mind. And hey, hello, Linda, and hello, Joyce. Great to see you both. Um, First on my list, and I swear to you it's on my list every year, is lose weight. Lose weight. There's always, perpetually, my entire adult life, somewhere between 10 and 15 pounds that I lose and I gain and I lose and I gain. And when I got into my 50s and started dealing with menopause, I don't lose so much anymore. Seem to have no problem gaining, but the losing piece isn't really happening. So, still on my list, right? Would love to lose a few more pounds. Want to be physically fit, physically stronger. I love feeling stronger. That's important to me. Also on my list would be writing more. I love writing for publication and for you guys. I love just writing and journaling for myself. Writing is kind of a happy place for me. I want to have more consistency in my meditation and yoga practice. I would love to finish my sound healing certification. For those of you who've been in my group for a while, you know that I started my sound healing certification back in 2020 when COVID first hit, and I haven't finished it yet. I have not finished it yet. And I'm embarrassed to say that. And it's still something that I want. So it's still on my list. Thinking maybe 2022 is the year I want to buy a new house. I've been talking about and saving up for buying a house for a while, but haven't pulled the trigger. So maybe this will be the year that I do that. Um, Probably the biggest thing on my list, and I suspect this is on a lot of your lists too, which is I want to be more authentically me all the time, right? It's very easy to be relaxed and be my true self when I'm in a safe place and when I'm with my friends and my family and people I know. And it's different when we're in environments where we feel like we're going to be judged or when we feel like how we're judged has an impact. So those are some of the things that are on my list. If I were to make a New Year's resolution list this year, that would pretty much be the list. So let's see. Linda was willing to share daily affirmations, drop perfectionism. That's a big one. Those are not little things that you mention. Um, Eating healthy, drop a clothing size, absolutely. Meditation, yep. Joyce, this year, going to get organized and in better shape. I've said this before, but excellent. Better meds. That always helps, right? When you've got the right support around you to get things done. So all good stuff. And although I'm talking about like, let's ditch the list, I don't mean it in the sense of don't have it. Like, don't have the goals, don't have the objectives. And we'll talk a little bit more about what I actually mean by that. Because it's important for us to be clear on what our goals and what our objectives are. So I made mine, right? I told you what mine are. And what happens when we make this list, right? We're setting up goals. We're giving ourselves a bit of a deadline. We're challenging ourselves. All good things. And these are the kinds of things that help us stay on track, that help us know that we're making progress. And for those of us who are goal oriented or deadline oriented, this can be a little bit motivating. So that's all good things. But there's another piece of this that I want to talk about. It's not that it's a bad thing, it's just that it's incomplete. So before I dive into why it's incomplete, I'm going to pause for a minute and I want to say welcome to everybody who has not joined us here before. My name is Natalie Hahn. I'm CEO of Dirty Girls Consulting. I'm thrilled to have you here for Training Tuesday tonight. We are here every week in Training Tuesday to talk about different topics around leadership and confidence building and how we create the career we want, how that translates into building the life that we want, all of that good juicy stuff. And I thought about it a lot before I did it, but this month and coming into next month, we're talking about how the energy that we bring to these different aspects of our lives, to how we lead, to what we want out of our careers, to how we're building our lives, how we can use, right, how we tap into and how we leverage the energy we bring into those changes. So I'm aligning it to how our chakra energy shows up and how we can tap into that. So I am a certified chakra healer. This is not something actually I talk about a lot in the Dirty Girls world, right? In our Accelerating Leadership for Professional Women, that's the group you're in, so welcome. I'm thrilled to have you here. We haven't talked a ton about chakras and chakra work in this. However, if you're one of my private clients or if you're in one of my courses, then you know that we talk all the time about our energy and how we use our energy. And energy is what? Energy is the combination of how we think, how we feel, and how we behave. That's how we show up. That's our energy. And so the chakras, and the way I want to think about and talk about the chakras the last couple of weeks and for the next few weeks is about these centers of energy that give us a place to focus. So the chakras are aligned right in our body, up and down our spine. We talked 2 weeks ago about the root chakra, which is at the base of our spine and our tailbone. So if you're sitting and you're sitting up straight, you're sitting on it. We talked about the sacral chakra, the fun chakra, all about sex and intimacy and emotion, which is basically between your pelvic bone and your belly button, right? All there where all the juicy lady bits are. Today we're going to talk about our solar plexus chakra, which is basically between our navel and our sternum, right? Just under the breastbone. So our solar plexus chakra. So we're moving up. Now, whether you believe or not, there are actual energy centers there. And we talk about chakras, we talk about spheres of energy, completely up to you. This is not about changing your ideas around spirituality or religion or philosophy. What I want to do is give you these points as a place to focus as we talk about the different types of energy that we have and how and where it can show up in our bodies and how we can harness it. So I want you to think about this as an exercise of giving you physical focal points and tools and strategies to use to harvest specific types of energy. And what we want to talk about tonight is how do we harness this energy to be successful, right? To tap into our success, to feel like every day we are living our life and managing our career exactly how we want to do it. And so the list, right, that New Year's resolution list, it's just that. It's the list. So back to that list, right? As I mentioned, when you have that New Year's resolution list, it's good for providing that little bit of motivation, right? But what we're doing is we're making a list. That's really what we're doing. New Year's resolutions, you're making a list. It's good for giving us clarity, right? I love lists. I love lists. They give us clarity on what we're prioritizing. If we make a list for the day or a list for the week, we know what we are consciously prioritizing to get done. It crystallizes for us what we're focusing on. That's great. But the list, does it actually motivate you? Does it arm you with the energy and the focus and the drive to get stuff done, to actually do the things that are on the list? It doesn't. It's a reminder. What it might do, because you have a deadline attached to it, it might give you that little boost, that little jolt of, oh, deadline, I got to get this done. But that's like a short-lived jab with a stick. Oh, deadline's coming up, better do that, right? Better make that happen. Studies show that when we make a New Year's resolution, less than 25% of us will still be working on that resolution 30 days in. So whatever you're promising yourself January 1st, by January 31st, 75% of us have tapped out. Not doing it anymore. By the end of the year, less than 4% of us will say, nailed it, killed it. Less than 4%. So, the odds are not so much in our favor. Not because we're not ambitious or strong or determined or any of those things, but because all we did was make the list. All we did was list out the priorities. And what happens is this list becomes the albatross. This list becomes the heavy thing hanging on our neck that loads us down with guilt, with self-loathing, with shame. I know that sounds really dramatic, right? I know. But it is. Because think about this. I want you to think about the things you say to yourself when you eat the bag of chips. When you eat the whole row of the Oreo cookies, because those are crack. When you eat that whole row. When you make the choice to watch Netflix instead of go to the gym. Right? Whenever you make a choice that somehow slows or impedes your progress against that New Year's resolution list, what do you say to yourself? What does the voice in your head say? If you're willing to share that, I would love to hear what that little gremlin voice in your head says in the chat. And this is a sharing environment, by the way. For those of you who are new and joining us for the first time, Um, Obviously, it's a live, so I'm not calling you out individually, but if you're willing to share, that's what helps us understand that we're all in the same place. So you can either tell me that what I'm about to say is familiar to you, or you can shout out your own gremlin voice. But here are some of the phrases that I know come out when I eat the bag of chips, right? I'm so weak. I have no willpower. I am just a fat, lazy slob. I'm lazy. I'm so stupid. Why do I do this to myself? I know better. I'm just destined to carry this extra weight. I can't help myself. Clearly, I need to learn to live with this. It's impossible for me to run a half marathon. I don't know what I was thinking or why I was even trying. Stupid. We say things to ourselves that we would never say in our loud voices to anyone else. We wouldn't. There's not a single person that you would look at and go, you are a fat, lazy slob, and I can't believe you even thought you could do it. We are never that mean. So yes, when you think about the phrases that the gremlin voice in your head says, I would suggest that these represent phrases of guilt and self-loathing and shame. Now, we all do this. We all have the voice. And right now is this voice's favorite time of year because we load it up with good stuff that's going to feed it all year long. So what I want to talk about tonight is how do we stop feeding that voice? How do we stop giving it fuel to say those horrible, nasty things, and let's give it something else to do? All right. Are you ready to try something different this year? Give me a Y. I just want to know you guys are there. Give me a Y in the chat if you are ready for yes in the chat. If you are ready to try something a little bit different this year when it comes to this New Year's resolutions. And like I said, not asking you to give up your goals. I'm not asking you not to want to do the things. What I'm asking you to do is to approach it a little bit differently. Is to keep the vision of the life you want. Hey, it's Sue. All right, Sue's ready. Let's do this. Sue, I want you to keep the vision of the life that you want. I want you to keep the vision of the woman who you are and the woman who you want to be. It's not what we're trying to change. We want to change the approach, not the goal. And hey, Miss Jackie's here. Hey, Jackie, good to see you. So we're going to ditch the list and we're going to ditch all the things that come with it, because what comes with the list? What comes with the list is we're trying to rework our daily schedules. We're trying to cram in things to make sure we have all the time to do all the things. And trust me, it doesn't work. I had my calendar this year in like 15-minute and 10-minute increment slices to cram in all the things I wanted to do, only to sit back and realize I don't want to do half that stuff. But it was stuff I thought I should be doing, right? We're going to ditch forced new habits that are not in alignment with how we want to live our lives and how we want to show up, but are because we think that's what we need to do in order to lose the weight or be more active or whatever it is. We're going to ditch the pressure to somehow be better. Better than what? Better than who we are? We're good enough, but that's the voice talking, right? So Linda says her voice says that she doesn't quite have it. Doesn't have what it takes to like make it over the line. Yeah, so that's a voice that's kind of holding her back, right? And saying, you don't have it, why are you even trying? It's not even there. Joyce says her voice agrees with mine. Don't understand though, Oreos are vegan. I'm going to use that. Oreos are vegan. They have to be good for me. I'm not sure it's the vegan part as much as maybe it's the sugar part that's not so good. I don't know. I don't judge anymore though. Here's the thing. I don't judge anymore because the approach we're going to take is not going to worry nearly as much about counting the calories or what you do and don't put in your mouth. It's about our mindset. I want you to envision where you want to be 1 year from now. I want you all to take a minute, maybe a couple minutes, and envision where do you want to be 1 year from now? And the total picture. What do you look like? How much do you weigh? right? What's your weight? How do you feel when you get up every day? Where are you working? What are you doing? Right? What's your job? What's your salary? What's your job title? How are you spending your free time? What are you doing when you're not working? And there better be an answer to that. Who are you with? Who's in your inner circle? Who are the 5 closest people to you who are your support group, right? Who are your cheerleaders and your influencers and your supporters and all of that, right? Who are those people? All right. I want you to get specific with that. I want you to take a couple of minutes and get specific with answering those questions. I want you to envision it. I want you to write it down, and then I want you to study it. This is the vision of you as you are today, but better. 1 year evolved. 1 year living fully, confidently, in alignment with your integrity. And then I want you to go live it. I want you to go be that woman, because you are already her. You're just looking at changing a few things, making a few tweaks so that you're living her a little differently. How do we do this? All right. We start by making the seemingly small but unimportant choices, the ones we don't usually think about, the choices we make every day automatically. And we want to turn those into conscious choices. Conscious choices every day that are in alignment with the woman you want to be. The leader, the friend, the partner, the coworker, the cheerleader, the influencer, whoever you are. And honestly, you're all those roles. Who is she? How do you ensure you're being her? This is where the focus on our solar plexus chakra comes in and becomes important. Okay, so the solar plexus chakra, Manipura. Manipur in Sanskrit translates to either lustrous jewel or city of jewels. It's jewelly, it's glowy, it's sparkly. It is located, like I said, kind of upper belly. It's your solar plexus, right? Below your breastbone, kind of at your diaphragm. This is the center of your personal power. This is where, if you're imagining the energy, right? I said the balls of energy, you've got the root chakra, the sacral chakra, move on up. This solar plexus ball of energy governs our ego, our confidence, our sense of personal freedom and choice. Power lives right in the center of our body, right in the core of us, which shouldn't be surprising, right? If you are somebody who experienced a really strict upbringing, right? Lots of rules and lots of ways that you could go wrong with the rules, right? Very strict upbringing. A lot of bullying in your childhood, very authoritarian family and parents or community. If you have suffered mental or physical abuse, this group, we're the ones who, that's where we tend to have challenges balancing. The third chakra, the solar plexus chakra, Manipura, can be hard to balance if you forgot that in your background, because that's exactly where it hits you, in the core of yourself. So I just want you to note that if you have that experience, because what you find when your solar plexus chakra is out of balance, right? Think about how you show up at work when this is out of balance. If you're a people pleaser, if you have challenge setting your boundaries at work, if you're constantly seeking approval and permission to do the things you need to do to be successful at work, if you have trouble making decisions, this can mean that your solar plexus chakra, your Manipura, is deficient, it's depleted. On the other hand, if you are pushing others to conform, to follow your lead, essentially being a little bit of a bully yourself, if you're being manipulative, trying to get people to do things your way, all because you know if you can control the outcome, you will have success. If you are trying to control all of the elements of a project you're working on or the people you're working with, then your solar plexus could be overstimulated or overwhelmed. Because the solar plexus is all about our confidence and our self-esteem and how we show up. And when we feel that's threatened, right, we're interpreting how everybody is responding to us. We're interpreting how people are judging us. They're for us or they're against us. And They're judging us as being successful or not successful. And what do? We want to control the outcome so that we control how we're being judged. When we're doing that, we're worried that the judgment is going to be that we're not smart enough, that we're not good enough, that we don't have it, right? As Linda said, that we're not ready, we're not capable, that we're somehow less. And we're fighting against that by trying to control everything to prove that we can do more. This energy drains us. When this is out of alignment and we're putting all that effort into controlling, or we're putting all that effort into people pleasing, we become very drained. Now, when our solar plexus chakra is in alignment, it's in alignment with our core self. And this is why I want you to go back to envisioning, who do you want to be in a year? Who is that woman? How is she living? Get specific with the details, because when we are connected to that vision, we are aligned with our sense of purpose. We are aligned with our goals. We are in alignment with our integrity. And now, every single decision you make is in alignment. From how you brush your teeth, to what time you get up in the morning, to what you choose to do when you have a spare 5 minutes, is all in alignment with this connectedness, with the vision of who we are and who we want to be. Every decision we make every day then builds us towards that. So when the decision is, or when the goal on the list is, I want to lose weight, we are making decisions every day about how we are treating and feeding our body. It is not a, oh, time for a meal, now I must make a food decision. The diet is on my New Year's resolution list, I need to do that. No, it doesn't show up that way now, because forget the list. This is about the woman who I am and the woman who I want to be, and I'm going to be next year at this time, is a woman who eats mindfully. Is a woman who, when she's sitting down and faced with what she's going to put on her plate, is putting on her plate the kinds of things that the woman she wants to be in 12 months is going to eat and going to enjoy. And you know what? If that's a sleeve of Oreos, amen. Eat the sleeve of Oreos if that's who you want to be. This is not about judgment about the kind of choices you're making. This is about making the choices that take you to who you want to be, that embody exactly who you are. You do that now. You live that life now. And you don't have to worry about the list and attaining those goals, because you're living it. Now, when we're unbalanced, when we're out of balance with our solar plexus chakra, the physiological signs that can show up, right? And again, there's debate in the medical community about how real this is or how real it isn't. What I do know is there is a tie behind our mindset and what shows up in our body, right? So the physiological cues that are tied to the solar plexus chakra are overeating, fatigue, stomach pain, heartburn, acid reflux, ulcers, more serious conditions like diabetes or hypoglycemia or eating disorders are also sometimes aligned with solar plexus chakra misalignment. Now, on an emotional scale, we can be over controlling. We have this victim mentality, and if we don't control, we're going to lose. Feelings of helplessness, a lot of insecurity. And the insecurity can show up as the victim, I can't control everything, or it can show up as the angry bully, I have to control everything. So, how do you realign? And I realize we're usually run about 30 minutes. The chakra series has been running a little bit longer. If you can stay with me to talk through how we realign this chakra, that's awesome. If not, and you want to catch it on the replay, that's fabulous too. I invite you to do that. So I'm going to get into now what are the tools and strategies I have promised you around how we realign this chakra. But I wanted you to fully understand what the impact is. This is about the core of ourselves, our integrity, our purpose, and our goals. And that's why aligning this chakra, when you are in alignment with this chakra, you don't have to worry about that New Year's resolution list. Because every small decision you are making every day is getting you to those goals. It's creating that life and that woman that you want to be. So like I said, we want to start with the small choices, right? Personal power and authenticity. Whether you're choosing a color to wear, your clothing, your perfume, your hairstyle, Little decisions, like I said, when you brush your teeth, what is your morning routine when you get up in the morning? All of those decisions are how you create your life every day. Now, the color for the solar plexus is gold or yellow. So it can be you put yellow in your room. It can be you're wearing a piece of yellow clothing if you feel yourself out of balance. You're surrounding yourself with the yellow golden things that bring the light, that bring that positive energy and sense of confidence to the table. If you are into meditation, which you guys know is a big thing with me, mantras are pretty powerful. The mantra for the solar plexus chakra is the phrase I can. And the word you can use to vibrate with your solar plexus chakra is Ram. Ram. Now, I think I told you that I do mudras a lot. So one of the mudras for the solar plexus chakra I can show you if you're meditating. And you want to do a mudra, and a mudra is simply how we hold our hands, right? How we hold our hands. Like a lot of times you see there's some very common ways that we hold our hands when we meditate. For the solar plexus chakra, one mudra that I like to do is if you put your hands together like this and align your middle fingers, you're going to curtain. What's the best way to explain this? Maybe you do this. Take your two hands and curve them like in fists, align them together so the knuckles touch. It's your middle fingers that are going to go up into a point and touch each other, right? So it's actually kind of pretty. It looks a little bit like a flower, right? This is what you're going to do. So knuckles are touching, and then middle fingers go straight and align, and then you hold that down in front of your solar plexus chakra, and so your fingers end up pointing out, all right? You can hold your fingers like that while you're meditating, and while you're meditating, you can repeat the word Ram. Ram. That's the vibrational sound that aligns with your solar plexus chakra. Now, if you like longer mantras, or you need to pull yourself back in a moment where you're feeling yourself feeling very insecure, feeling a little bit unstable, uncertain about your alignment with the choices you want to make or your purpose, there are a lot of phrases that you can use as a mantra, so create one that works for you. But the phrases all align around things like, I know who I am and I'm true to myself. Or, I am confident and authentic. I feel motivated to pursue my purpose. And the point of mantras is that when you are feeling a moment of instability, when you are feeling a little bit lost, is to give yourself an anchor phrase that pulls you back into your purpose, your goals, and your sense of direction, your sense of integrity. If you're feeling unbalanced, you could say something like, I forgive myself for my past mistakes and I learn from them. The only thing I need to control is how I respond. I have the courage to create change in my life. I stand in my personal power. So those concepts of power, of control of ourselves, not of others, of learning and openness, of trust, of confidence and authenticity, those are the phrases that you want to bring into whatever your mantra is going to be to help you pull into tapping into that personal power right in the center, right, of your solar plexus chakra. If you like yoga, some moves you can make in yoga that help you reconnect with that are sun salutations, all about the sun and yellow and heat. What you want to do is any move that warms up your core, right, that brings heat to that part of the body, warms up your core and kind of creates that inner fire. So sun salutations are great for that. Boat pose is great for that. Boat pose is when you are balanced. I'm not going to do it because I'm sitting on a chair, but boat pose is when you are balanced with your feet in the air. Your body is at an angle. Your body is a V shape, essentially, and you have your arms out towards your knees, right? And you're holding boat pose. Total core strength activity. That's great for this also. If you like gemstones, and if you like working with gemstones when it comes to tapping into your chakras, Citrine, right? Think about the yellow and the gold colored stones. Um, Citrine. Like I have citrine earrings on tonight. These are some of my favorite earrings. My very dear friend Tracy gave these to me, I think for Christmas last year. And I love citrine. Citrine represents manifesting abundance, confidence, mental acuity, and creativity. It's also supposed to be healing for the digestive system. It is one of my favorite stones. I think I shared with you guys last week. I have a citrine, a yellow citrine tower actually on my desk. Um, Yellow tourmaline. Yellow tourmaline is a gemstone known for balancing emotions, for for supporting your menstrual health. For those of us who are still battling that, um, for breaking up negative energy. And tiger's eye. Tiger's eye is a great one for mental clarity, for good luck, and for protection. If you like scents and essential oils, cedarwood is a good one. Bergamot. I love bergamot. Rosemary and chamomile. Those are the essential oils that are affiliated with your solar plexus chakra. And again, think about the things that help you feel empowered and confident and calm and relaxed, because that's really the atmosphere you're trying to create. So Linda, I assume using need approval to be successful or have value. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a really good mantra, Linda. I do not, or you turn that into a positive and say, I already have. I already have approval to be successful and I have value. Turn that one into a positive. Because the I already have approval is coming from yourself. Because you do. You do. You don't need permission from anybody. You're absolutely right. I like that a lot. Thank you for sharing that. Now, we can empower ourselves to live with a strong sense of purpose, of confidence, of motivation. And we do this by actually releasing the control, right? By releasing our need to control and obsess over what everybody else is doing so that they don't make us look bad. And what we want to do when we tap into our solar plexus chakra, cultivate that confidence, is develop our personal power to operate from a greater sense of freedom, because we have the confidence and we know that no matter what life is throwing at us, we can deal with it. You can absolutely deal with it. So you don't need the list. Ditch the list. You don't need the resolutions this year for New Year's, because what you're going to do instead, you'll have your list of the goals you want to accomplish, but what you're going to do instead is make the small choices every single day to live that life and to tap into your solar plexus energy to make sure that every day you are feeling balanced and connected to who you are, that you are aligning to exactly who you are. All right, so that was what I wanted to share with you tonight. And I just want to tap back into, at the very beginning, I shared the story about my son fixing the kitchen sink and replacing my faucet and everything kind of going haywire this morning. And here's the thing. One of the things that helps us tap into our self-confidence, that helps us realign with our sense of purpose and feel productive and guided. And this is one of the things that I wanted my son to feel, which is why I gave him the project of replacing the kitchen sink. I have been a homeowner for a long time. I YouTube everything. If I don't have to pay a contractor to do it, I'll do it. My son is getting ready to move out on his own. And I've been thinking, I've been fixing all this stuff for years now. He probably needs to learn how to do some of this stuff for his own house one day. And so I didn't tell him anything. I handed him the faucet and said, go YouTube instructions, but fix my sink. And he did it. And the sense of pride he felt in figuring out something that was utterly foreign to him. I've never before given him a set of tools and a thing and said, go build this for my house for me. He's never fixed any plumbing issue. The sense of pride we get from doing the thing, from following through, from pushing past that insecurity and stepping in and doing the thing, also activates our solar plexus, because we're acting in alignment with who we want to be. And he wants to be a helpful, handy guy who knows what he's doing. These are the things he's been working on. And last night he got one more. So yay. And I got a new sink, or a new faucet anyway. All right. If you would love to have some help making your plan for the next year, for having the accountability around making those choices every single day, then I invite you to schedule what we call the Dirty Girl Mini Dig. It's a free 15-minute coaching conversation with me in which we're going to get you one step closer to that goal. We're going to create an action plan for you, an action plan that gets you closer to your goals. So let's have a conversation around how you decide what your choices are going to be, how you stay in alignment and stay accountable for that. It's called a Dirty Girl Mini Dig, and all you have to do is drop the word dig in the chat below. Drop the word dig. I'll reach out to you over Facebook Messenger. We'll schedule a time for this 15-minute chat. It's not a sales conversation. It's a coaching call for us to get to the root of where you want to go, how you want to get there, and get you one step closer to getting there. And I would love to help you do that in 2022. So enjoy the rest of this somewhat stagnant week, and go ahead and make your list of New Year's resolutions if you want to have the list. But I'm going to invite you to approach that list differently this year, and instead focus your energy on activating your solar plexus chakra. Open up your world to the color of gold, right? Practice those mantras around having the permission to be who you want to be, to doing the things that you want to do, to forgiving yourself for past mistakes, to feeling motivated and connected to your sense of purpose, to owning what your sense of purpose and what your goals are. And wear the citrine and the yellow tourmaline, and smell those essential oils like cedarwood and bergamot, and enjoy the power that you get from the core of yourself in your solar plexus. Have any questions, drop them in the chat. If you would love to have that conversation around reaching your goals, drop the word dig in the chat. I look forward to seeing you guys again next week on Training Tuesday. Thanks for joining me tonight. I know I went a little long. Thanks for sticking around.